CC Madhya Ch9 All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the Shri Guru and Shri Ranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Ram Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Was that 2 or 3? That was 2 or 3. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita this morning in the Madhya Lila, chapter 9, which is entitled Lord Chaitanya's Travels to the Holy Places. And this morning we're beginning from 252. I think we read this before, but it's a better place to start than 253. Vaishnava. Yo. Yo. That's what they're saying, so that's what I want to. What does that express? Yo. 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 It's a South African way of expressing what? Amazement, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, many things. Yeah.
Can't believe it.
In this case, it's amazement. Ya Vaishnava Tata Savana Antari Gavad. I'm going to play this a little bit. Vaishnava Tata Savana Antari Gavad. No, let me try that again. Vaishnava Savana Antari Gavajani.
Vaishnava Tata Antari Garajani.
Vaishnava Savana Antari Gavajani.
Vaishnava Savana Antari Garajani.
Because you see, the thing is, the accent falls, so you have to split that third word to make it fit the meter. So it's Vaishnava, Vaishnava Shabana Antari Gavajani.
Vaishnava Savana Antari Garajani.
Not bad, we're getting there. Isha Hashya Kichu Kani Gonamani.
Isha Hasya
Ishat Hashya Kichu Kahi Gauramani. Okay, one more time. Vaishnata Sahan Sabara Antari Gavajani.
Vaishnavata Sabara Antari Garvajani.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. Ishat Hashya Kichu Kahi Gauramani. Okay, I've done it 3 times, now it's up to you.
Vaishnavata Sabara Antare Garvajani.
Vaishnavata Sabara Antari Gavajani.
Ishathasya Kichukaya Ishathasya Kichukaya Goramani.
Ishathasya Kichukaya Goramani. It's funny that sometimes they're just simple verses, but so tricky sometimes, no? Okay, in the ladies department then.
Vaishnavata Sabara Antare Garvajani.
Vaishnavata Sabara Antare Gavajani.
Ishathasya Kichu Kahe Gauramani.
Ishathasya Kichu Kahe Gauramani.
Vaishnavata Sabara Antare Garvajani.
Vaishnavata Sabara Antare Gavajani.
Ishadhashiya Kichu Kahe Goramani.
Ishathasya Kichu Kahe Gauramani. Okay, we got that. Vaishnavata. Vaishnavism. What is Vaishnavism? Vishnu. But we're not Vaishnavas actually, really, technically speaking. Not even Krishna. We're not even Karshnas. You know what Karshnas are? They're worshippers of Krishna. But not really. We're actually Gaudiyas. Who do we worship? Radharani. Why? She's the best devotee. And we're trying to become? Well, not the best. It's like one time, one disciple of Srila Prabhupada came to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm so fallen, I'm the most fallen, I'm the most fallen. You know what Prabhupada said? You are not the most anything. So we're not the most fallen. That's a position which is reserved for Narottam Das Thakur. That's what he says in this song we sing. I'm the most fallen. I'm the first candidate. Okay, Vaishnavata. Vaishnavism. Sabana. All of them. Antare. Within the mind. Gava. Pride. Jani. Knowing. Ishat. Mildly. Hashia. Smiling. Kichu. Something. Kahe. Says. Gauramani. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nice name for Mahaprabhu. Gauramani. He had a son you might want to call him Gauramani. Beautiful name for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, the translation is as follows. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's Srila Prabhupada's translation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand that the Tattvavadis were very proud of their Vaishnavism. He therefore smiled and began to speak to them. There's no purport. Om Gyana Timidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Vina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Rubastam Stapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasani Gaura-bhatta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Actually, the Tattva is a part of our Sampradaya. You know that? They were our Sampradaya before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kind of knocked them into shape. That's actually our Sampradaya. It is Madhvacharya's Sampradaya. But the thing is, they don't go far enough. You know, they kind of stop at the beginning. Craig, have I troubled you to bring me the Bhagavad Gita? I think it's in that. Sorry to make you run. Yes.
Yesterday you said that, or also others are saying Nityananda's parents are different. So how are they brothers?
Nityananda's
Parents are different to Lord Chaitanya's parents.
Yeah.
So how are they brothers?
Because they're in the same mood. Just like technically speaking, Krishna and Balaram are not brothers. Technically
Aren't they
speaking.
like stepbrothers though?
But they're in the same mood. No, because who's the mother of Balaram?
Rohini?
Rohini. So it's different mother. But they're kind of half brothers.
Don't they have the same father?
But here they're brothers because they're in the same mood. You know, they're about the same task. That's what Ajahn and Lambika Bhajan, they're the fathers of the Sankirtan movement. So in that sense, they're brothers. Is that right?
Can I ask another
Not
question?
done yet. Okay.
So then why were they so sad when Lord Nityananda left and they were like, thinking, oh no, now my other son is going, but it's not actually your other son.
Which son is that?
So they were becoming afraid that Lord Chaitanya would also take sannyas because they're like,
Yes,
other
because
son
Fisher
is
really
already
did
there.
that.
But now they're not brothers, so that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
so why are they saying that?
Yeah, we say brothers because they're in the same mood.
Okay.
I mean, they're Balaram and Krishna. So Balaram and Krishna are brothers. So they've incarnated now. So it's kind of, I don't know what you call that. That's out of love, I guess we say, that they're brothers. Because they were in the previous existence. So.
Okay.
I don't know, for me, just, sometimes we say that someone's your brother, but they're not really your brothers, just
Yeah.
represent the closeness of the
Yeah, the
relationship.
closeness of the relationship. Like in Indian family culture, it's like that. Even your cousins are your brothers. Because the family relationship is very close. That's another way of looking at it, yeah. Is that right, Your Grace?
Can I ask another question?
Why not? We're here.
So
we have an intimate exchange today, so why not? I can't promise I can answer, of course.
So we sang the Manasiksha song, but my understanding of the Manasiksha was the book by Raghunath
Yes,
Bhatta Goswami.
but that's also instructions to the mind as well.
Okay.
That's also, because our mind can be our worst. Krishna says that the mind's the best of the friend, or it can be the worst enemy. So Raghunath Goswami is instructing the mind, look, let's be a Vaishnava. So in that sense, the first verse of the Manasiksha, you know what that says?
Like the actual Manasiksha with Raghunath.
Well, no, they're both
It's,
actually
it's
Manasiksha.
saying
One is a song and the other one's a scripture.
Oh my dear foolish mind, please listen here. One must attain attachment to, and then he mentions these 8 things that we must get attached to. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was if you think you're a Vaishnava, you must love the practitioners of other religious systems.
You must what?
You must love the practitioners of other religious systems, not just tolerate them. You must love them. And the verse you quoted is the second one, I
Is it
think.
the second one?
I might have it the wrong way
I
around.
used it in my class like 2 weeks ago.
We may have it the wrong way around. Because the colour of the memory is not so strong.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. So the Manasiksha is also instructions to the mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So one is Narottam Das Thakur and the other one is Raghunath Das Goswami.
okay. Last question.
Last question
What-
for now.
What does mani mean? So you said Gora Mani. So what is the mani part?
Dvijamani. Gauramani, Dvijamani. I think it's a term for a Brahmana, no?
Okay.
Gauramani. Yeah, I think it's a term for a Brahmana.
Okay.
And he is born in the Brahmana family after all, Jagannath Mishra. Yeah, I think it means, Brahmana. Okay, are we done for now? Okay, I know there might be others, but we're done for now. Okay. Yeah, there's no purport, but there is a purport. There's always a purport, actually. You see, the thing, this is a warning for us as well in this verse. Because sometimes the verses just seem so innocuous and really inconsequential, we could say. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand that the Tattavadis were very proud of their Vaishnavism. Hare Krishna. So this can be taken in 2 ways. We can understand 2 things in this. One thing Prabhupada says is that we're Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we should be very proud of that, because we're attached to such a glorious lineage, isn't it? You know, all the persons in our lineage are young girls. Did you know that? They're all young girls, because they're all manjaris, so they're very young girls, 11, 13, something like that. No? So we should be very proud. But even so, because they are residents of the spiritual world, we should be very proud of being part of the. But on the other hand, that shouldn't mean that the pride is extended to other things. No, it doesn't mean we should be proud. It means, you know, we should be very thankful that we're in this Gaudiya Sampradaya. No? But here we see that the Tattvadas are proud of their philosophy. Yes, we have our philosophy together, but actually that can be dangerous, you know. And in this case, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to break that pride. That pride was there, but they didn't really have the whole thing together. They just had the opening, you know, the basics, the real basics together. Actually, you know what their philosophy is really, when you get right down to it. It's kind of, you could say it's purified karma kanda. It's purified karma kanda. I mean, in one sense, karma kanda can actually bring you to the spiritual platform. It can actually do that. But the problem with it is that you can go beyond that. Because the beginning of the spiritual platform is what we call Brahman realization. It's kind of, when we look at it from the viewpoint of devotional service, it is absolute beginner. This platform. This is what Krishna discusses. Well, maybe we'll wait a verse or two till we get to it. This is what Krishna discusses in the Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter. So it's really preliminary stuff. Because Krishna in the 3rd chapter points out why we have to work. So do you know why we have to work? Okay, you can tell them.
To maintain ourselves.
To maintain the body.
That we are always dynamic, so we can never do nothing.
We cannot. Krishna says you can't do nothing. You can go shame. Shame is the blink of an eye.
Sacrifice.
Yes, you must perform sacrifice to Vishnu. Otherwise, you become karma bandhana. The karma binds you. So.
And to be shrishtas.
Sorry.
And to be shrishtas.
Yeah, you have to be an example to others. That comes later. Yeah, but that's true. Someone's watching you. These are the 4 reasons that Krishna gives. Yeah, but the third reason is kind of interesting, because Krishna says that you have to perform purified work. You know, work where you're not attached to the result. Offer that to Vishnu. So the question arises: what should you do if you can't do that? Because to actually perform work in the mood of renunciation and offer it to Vishnu is actually not easy. You know, who can perform renounced work? Actually, most people are engaged in fruitive work. So to perform renounced work is actually difficult. So the question arises from that, what to do if you can't work as a sacrifice to Vishnu. So that is what the Tattvadas are discussing, really. We'll see that in a minute. So because they were proud, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to smile. Because now he's going to... not to destroy them, he's going to set them straight. We can put it like that, you know. We should also think like that. We shouldn't think we're going to destroy people. We should think that we're going to, not no, but yes, but. It's much easier for people to swallow. Yeah, that's true, but actually, you can go further than that. Because the Brahman realization is actually part of realization of the Supreme Lord, isn't it? Paramatmeti, Bhagavat iti sabdite. It is part of the absolute truth. It's one aspect. But the thing is, it's a very preliminary aspect. Prabhupada gives the example, if you see a train coming towards you at night, first what do you see? On the Indian trains, they still carry it actually. They used to when I was a boy. I actually remember a time when things were hauled around by steam trains. It shows how old I am, no? When I first started train spotting, I must have been about 8 or 9 years old, because where we lived in the village, running down the back was one of the main railways in England, actually, 4 tracks. And there were trains up and down that all the time. I remember steam trains, the 92,000 series. So in India, though, they actually carry a light on the front of the train. And if it's night time, when the train's coming, what do you see first? You see the light. Yeah. The bright white light.
The Brahmajyoti.
Yeah, the Brahmajyoti. That's what the Brahmakumaris are into, the bright white light. But actually, it doesn't really give you much information. It's just some vague understanding that the train is coming. So similarly, the Brahman is like that. It's not a very advanced understanding. So that is what is yielded from this philosophy. And if you practice, you'll see now, the Acharya is going to be asked, what are you practicing? Like Prabhupada would do that, He would sit down with somebody and he would say, so, Mr. Chakramanta, what's your philosophy? Huh? I've been to, oh, very good. But Prabhupada would do that. He would say, so, what is your philosophy? And they would, give something and Prabhupada would basically correct them, like that. Like one time he sat down with one Catholic cardinal. I forget his name now, it's quite a famous conversation. So he was asking that cardinal different things, and then he said, why is it? Because in Exodus 20 verse 13 it says, thou shalt not kill. So why is it that you're... And they were discussing it for some time now, and then the Catholic priest was saying, no, we should discuss something else now. And Prabhupada said, if you can't follow the basic commandments, then where's the question of discussing philosophy? Yeah. So that is our approach to people. So what is your philosophy? What is your worldview? Because if you tell people what's your philosophy, I don't know what answer you'll get. But if you tell them, so what is your worldview? What do you think about the goal of life and these kinds of things? But then you shouldn't smash them. You don't destroy them. No. But rather we kind of adjust. Click, click, click. We adjust that mentality. Yeah, but have you ever thought? Don't ram it down their throats. Have you ever thought? What you just told me. What about this and what about that? But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't mess about. First of all, he asked, so what's your Tattva-vadi, what's your philosophy? So this is what we get. Tan Shabala Antayingala Janigola Chandra Tan Shaba Sange Gusti Karima Aramba. Considering them very proud, we should be like that. We should be very proud. Proud in the sense that people detect your mentality and think that you think you are like that. It's like they call us Das and Dasi, We're all Dases and Dasis. So why do they call us that? Why spiritual master called you Das or Dasi? Louder. What was this? Louder. You said? To serve, yeah. We're the servant of everybody, actually. We can look at it that way. We're actually the servant of everybody. Because what are we trying to do? We're trying to bring them to Krishna's lotus feet. One time Prabhupada was challenged like that by one lady. Who do you think you are? There was a panel program. Who do you think you are driving around in Rolls Royce, Mercedes Benz? So much opulence. Who do you think you are? Actually, it wasn't a lady, it was a gentleman. So Prabhupada was silent for about 20 seconds. And he put his head down and he said, actually, I'm the servant of everybody. And who are we followers of? So Prabhupada, we call it Prabhupada Nuga. So we're actually the servant of everybody. Because what does Mahaprabhu say our attitude should be to others? That's number 3. The child of them. It's like, the Prabhupada tells that story, that in this factory there was, there was kind of like a very light and humorous mood. And they would tell each other jokes in the factory. So they got so used to the jokes that actually they gave them numbers. And they'd be talking and say, number 3. Everyone would go, number 3, number 3. So we should be able to do that with our Shiksastika. Number 3. So what's number 3? come in the name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the tree. One should be more tolerant than a tree, and for all sense of false prestige. Stop. What's false prestige? Yeah, to think you're
Lording it
important.
over
How important are you actually in the scheme of things?
We're so small.
We just looked at that yesterday. Do you remember all those bubbles?
Yeah.
And they're unlimited, you know. So, I mean, just in terms of our universe, do you know what Prabhupada says in third canto about our universe? Because our universe is
Smallest.
Chaturmukha Brahma. Some of the universes Brahma has
4 heads, yeah. 1,000.
1,000, 10,000. So we're actually the smallest universe. There was I'll come to you in a minute. Let's let me finish this one thing. So there was a very, very learned scholar in our movement. He was called Atmatattva Prabhu. Actually, very scholarly background. He could quote the Puranas to you and so many things. So once we were travelling with him somewhere in Calcutta. He was with my spiritual master. So we were discussing this business of the universe being the smallest one. Okay. So he was saying, do you know why that we're in the smallest universe? Do you know why us living entities, us human beings, we're in the smallest universe? Because we're the most puffed up. So put us in the smallest universe like that, yeah. Considering them very proud. So what was the remainder? I stopped you after false prestige. Respect to others. Yeah. Does it just mean devotees? No. It means everyone. Because if you actually, even on a material platform, if you can execute that, you'll be everybody's friend. Even on a material platform, what to speak of. So this is our position. We're not very proud. I'm a das or a dasi. I'm a servant of Srila Prabhupada, my spiritual master. And, you know, what's your philosophy? But then don't smash them. Don't become proud. Yeah, that's good, but have you thought, you know, what about this, what about that? Yeah, it's a better approach. So we should be proud of our lineage, but that's an internal thing. That's very much an internal thing. But externally we should be everybody's servant and ready to do whatever we can to bring some souls to Krishna's lotus feet. And what does Krishna say about that in the Bhagavad Gita?
We'll go to him.
Oh, you're the
One who explains this secret, because it is a secret. It's a secret. It's an open secret to devotees, but it's closed for everybody else. So one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, because they're all devotees, they just don't know it yet. No? Pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end,
he will come
to me. Or she, it's not gender specific. And the next verse, and 69, in this world, there is no servant more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. That is our hope, to tell you frankly. That is our hope. That if we can just bring a few devotees to Krishna's lotus feet, then Krishna will smile on us. Right? You know, because all this business of chanting a japa and all that, coming to class, it's like cleaning your teeth. It's just the basic stuff. The real thing is to actually get onto the platform of keep your radar up. You know, they have the radar is for air defenses. They have radar for that. It's very sensitive radar. So we should have our radar up. What are we looking for?
Dry grass.
Huh?
Dry grass?
Even wet grass, actually. But yeah, especially dry grass. Those who have some punya. How do you know those who have? How can you recognize those who have punya? That's spiritual wealth. You know? How can you recognize
the mode of goodness?
Huh?
By the mode of goodness?
You can do a little better than that.
Curiosity about scripture.
Yeah, curiosity, attachment a little bit to the deity. They like the devotees, they like prasadam, they like to chant the holy name, they light up like a light bulb. Do you know this devotee, Charity Ras? Mother Charity Ras. Yeah, she was helping me out when we were preaching in Stellenbosch. When she chanted the holy name, she would light up like a light bulb. Literally, light up like a light bulb. So those are the persons we're looking for, because they are ripe mangoes. If the mango falls to the floor, what do you feel? But the birds peck it and it falls to the floor and begins to rot. And I missed that one, you know. But we should try and pick them when they're ripe. Yeah, and sow seeds. Sow seeds everywhere you can and keep your radar up for punya, for those that are attracted to the deity, to the devotees, to hearing the scripture, to Krishna's prasadam. You know how many devotees come through Krishna's prasadam? It's going to be amazing today because these two devotees are cooking. Hare Krishna. Yeah, do you know how many devotees we've made through prasadam? Most, actually. Most. Prabhupada says it's our secret weapon. And he also says that without prasadam our process would be impossible. He does actually say that. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita is like a cookbook. And all the prasadam is just overflowing with prasadam. Yeah. So we shouldn't be proud in the sense that people can detect it. Because if somebody's proud, how do we feel about that person automatically? It's like, I won't mention names, but I want to tell you a little story. You know, we have a certain devotee in this community. Where he comes from in South Africa is a very small community and everybody knows everybody. All the Indians know everybody. So, in that family, we helped them through the death of the father. You know, we went previous, we would talk, we would do kirtan, we did all the funeral rites and everything. We did the following days and one like that. Now we're doing a program in that home and another home in Cape Town. And one member of that family knew one of our devotees because they used to live in the same small town like that. So I invited that devotee to help us out during Janmashtami to try and find those who would like to do sanghas. You know, we printed a leaflet and some things on it and a QR code. So I asked that family member, could you help this other devotee? And she said, oh, I don't know about that. You know, when I used to know him, he was so proud. But when he became a devotee, actually, then his character changed. And he just became, you know, so humble. And she was gobsmacked by the change. She said, I couldn't believe the change in this person, actually. So that is the attitude we should have, actually. Because my spiritual master used to say that, how did he put it now? Tolerance and humility always wins over anger and frustration. This is we should become famous for that, actually. Our loving, caring attitude, our pridelessness, our willingness to offer respect to everybody, that's attractive, actually. If you meet someone like that, even in ordinary life, it's very attractive. A person who is genuinely humble. So now, what is our humility based on? This is an interesting discussion. What is it that we can realize that will automatically make us humble? Yeah, that's true. That we're a servant. Who are we servant of? No, everybody. Everybody. That's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it?
We're so tiny.
And when we realize the greatness of Lord Krishna, what do we also realize? Yeah. Do you know that? That's number 5, by the way. Number 5. What's number 5?
Small.
Yes.
No, I don't
One of the atoms.
know.
That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Somehow or other, I've fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please take me up from this ocean of death and place me one of the atoms. Do you think Mahaprabhu is kidding? He's kidding around? No, Mahaprabhu is deadly serious. Deadly serious. That's what we are. Compared with the greatness of Krishna, we're nothing actually. We're a tiny little atom. So if the more we realize the greatness of Krishna, what happens? Yeah, with humility develops. You know how big humility can be also understood. This is another way of looking at humility.
Maybe because we've had past sinful activities.
Yes, that's a good way of looking at it. Look at the state of my, I'm in this material body, I've got all kinds of problems. Yeah, that's another way of looking at it. But then, what I was going to say has gone out of my mind.
Another way of looking
Another way
at
of looking at humility. Oh yeah. Humility means to recognize the greatness of others. Don't you think? To recognize the greatness of others. So, compare, you know why we say Prabhu and Mataji? Why do we say, well, Prabhu, Prabhu? It's not meant to be like that. It's meant to be like, Prabhu, my dear Prabhu. But we use it as a calling card, an object of chastisement sometimes. But actually it's meant to be a term of respect. Mataji, Prabhu, like that. Why do we do that? Why did Prabhupada introduce that, do you think?
Respect each other.
Yeah, because compare with the other devotees, who are you really? You know, our mood should be that probably the other devotees are better than me, more surrendered than me, can render better service than me. This is the attitude of the spiritual world. You know what Radharani is thinking? This cold's not going away, isn't it, Ekachapa? You need ginger tea with peppercorns. You have to get someone to make for you ginger tea. And if you're drinking out of a mug, there should be 6 peppercorns. Then you boil the 6 peppercorns with the ginger. You need about a dessert spoonful, a little bit more maybe, of grated ginger, and put the peppercorns. It really helps actually. Yeah, so Prabhupada introduced this so that we can understand who we really are. Well, not much actually. We're the servant of everybody. We're probably not a very advanced devotee. Probably the other devotees are doing better than we are. That is the attitude of the spiritual world. So you know what Radharani is thinking? You're not thinking, just see, I'm number 1 in the rasa dance. You can't probably, the board is covering it, you can't see it. I am number 1. That's not what Radharani is thinking actually. She's a bit cross with Krishna actually in this situation. She's a bit cross. Do you know why? You remember the picture now, you can't see it now, but you remember the picture. She's a bit cross with Krishna. Do you know why?
She knows that she can give Krishna the most pleasure.
No, she's not like that at all actually. She's thinking, why is Krishna not showing his full ecstasy? Why is Krishna not doing that? Now, I'm trying my hardest, to show the full ecstasy. Why is he not doing that? You know why he's not doing that? The other gopis will get upset. That's why he's not doing that. So what did he do? He left. Yeah, because then it could be in private and it could be manifest fully. That's another way of looking at it. So and Radharani is thinking probably the Astashakis could do a better job than I can. That's what she's thinking. And she makes arrangement actually for the other Astashakis to actually be alone with Krishna. That's how Tulsi came to the earth planet. That was Krishna's special arrangement. She got cursed, Radharani cursed her. Why, how dare you be alone with my Lord and Master? Yeah, so like that. So even up to the Radharani, everyone has this attitude. Oh, you're a better devotee. And when they see you're a better devotee, what do you think? Humbug, you rascal. How is it you're a better devotee than me? What is that called?
Pride.
That's envy. Yeah. So the opposite is divine love. Oh, Prabhu, Mata, you render such nice service to Lord Krishna. Wow. I wish I could serve like you. We need to develop this attitude. Very, very important thing. We're nothing actually. We're nothing. We have to develop this attitude of actually really, and we shouldn't be artificial. Just trying to really do that. Something nice to meditate on. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was thinking, you're not humble enough. Okay, you've got your philosophy and everything, but I'm going to straighten you out a little bit right now. So considering them very proud, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began this discussion. And you know how Mahaprabhu started? What's your philosophy? Mahaprabhu started, Srila Prabhupada started in that way because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to start in that way. So, what's your philosophy? That's what we're going to get now.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry to interrupt, just from your previous...
Actually, I stopped Craig Proof asking a question as well. Can you remember that question?
Yes, it was just...
Hang on a minute then, we'll deal with Ramanandini first. She's singing it to you. Okay, so Ramanandini.
Just to recognize the greatness of
Good.
others. I was just thinking that even the temple room, every single thing that is there, like the flowers offered to Lord Chaitanya, even the chairs and everything is actually an offering by some devotee to Krishna, so that, if you see, if one realizes that, then, there's so much service that the devotees are doing, and what are you doing? That's also nice.
Yeah, that's a very nice way of looking at it. This devotee rendered such nice, I could never do service like that. When I look at these flower arrangements, the devotee who's behind these flower arrangements, she's been doing the service 30 years, 35 years. She's the longest serving member, other than His Grace Madhavi Prabhu. She is the longest serving devotee in this temple. And she also paints the deities. And some of the devotees who've been temple president here have tried to stop her because she's not initiated. It's never worked. Never. It's never worked. It's just like, no, I want this one to paint my form. So we should learn to appreciate the service of other devotees, actually, the good qualities.
She's a good example of humility.
Sorry?
She's a good example.
Yeah, come on, she's such a humble personality. Just quietly works away. And who buys the flowers?
She does.
She does. And she's been doing that service 35 years. There's some time when you're feeling important and your ego's in bloom, just go and touch your lotus feet. You know that? There's a poem like that, it's called The Indispensable Man. Let's see if I can remember it. Some time when you're feeling important, some time when your ego's in bloom, just follow these simple instructions and see how it humbles your soul. Take a bucket of water and fill it to the top, insert your hand and remove it. It's something like, I haven't got it quite right. The hole that's remaining is the measure of how you'll be missed. If you try that, you stick your hand into a bucket of water like that, and you take it out, and the hole that's remaining is the measure of how you'll be missed. You can splash when you enter, you can stir up the water galore, but stop, and in no time it looks quite the same as before. I don't remember it all, but it's a nice meditation we should have actually as devotees. Nice meditation. So you want to hear how Mahaprabhu broke the pride of the Tattva-vadis? Oh, sorry, your question.
It wasn't a question, it's more of an observation. When you were talking about the universe and how small our universe is, and the picture you showed yesterday is, I would say it's Karana Dakashaya.
Because Karana means the cause.
And he's the one who lies in the ocean and the universe comes out of his cause. With one breath, when he breathes.
Yeah, for us it's like, 15 times a minute, is it? Something like that. That's 311 trillion, 40 billion years for Mahavishnu. And then the universe is a manifest.
So those are all universes, and scientists didn't believe that there was many universes.
But they do now.
They do. So and even the image of like this whole multiverse theory looks exactly like this picture of just like little bubbles. That's all they say, it's like little bubbles. So it's interesting how this image of Karana Dakashaya Vishnu of the universe is speaking out of his pores, and scientists are just saying, oh yeah, that's actually how our universe looks. It's little bubbles.
Yeah. And even now they're postulating that there are unlimited universes. Our probability theory, no? So it's interesting, isn't it? Gradually, because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, gradually things will emerge which will be validated by the scripture. I could give an example. There was one nice example is that one 13th century commentary on the Rig Veda actually states, because the Rig Veda is mostly hymns for Suryadev and Indradev, mostly sacrifices. So there's one section where there's glorification of Suryadev before a group of sacrifices for Suryadev. So in the first verse of this group of hymns, Suryadev has been glorified. I forget now who the author is, but they're glorifying Suryadev. So this Brahmin in some protectorate in India somewhere was told by his king, write a commentary on the Rig Veda. So in this first verse in his commentary, you know what he wrote? He wrote, we remember here that Suridev travels 2,202 yojanas in half an nimesha. You know what a yojana is? It's a Vedic distance, a Vedic measurement of distance. And a nimesha. Half a nimesha. Nimesha is the blink of an eye. So half a nimesha. So that is a measurement of time. So if you take distance, yojana is about 10 miles. And it's 2,202, he says. He could have said about 2,000. He could have said about 2,200. But he said 2,202. So it means that this measurement is accurate to 1 part in 2,000. Otherwise, why is he saying 2,002? So you take the sums from the Puranas and you plug the numbers in, you know what you get. Because it's distance divided by time. That gives you velocity, yeah. So you know what it comes out to if you do the sums. It comes out to 189,000 miles a second. You know what that is? That's the speed of light. And this is the 13th century commentary on the Rig Veda. In the West, they didn't figure out that the speed of light was finite until the end of the 17th century. 1680 something, they figured out it's got a finite speed. So this is like 300 years. You know, that we're so proud, the Westerners are so proud of their science. This is 300 years. Some Brahmin sitting somewhere in a court of the king in India knew the speed of light. Didn't have to do an experiment, he just knew the speed of light. Why? Because of his purity. He just knew. So gradually things have been validated, you know. There's a book on Vedic astronomy, it's called the Surya Siddhanta. Have you heard of that book? The Surya Siddhanta. Do you know Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati got his name from commentary on that book, that one and the Siddhanta Shiromani. That's how he got his name, Saraswati, because he's such a learned commentary. In that book, the Surya Siddhanta, it's a book on Vedic astronomy. And it gives the radius, the mean radius of the Earth-Moon orbit, the orbit of the Moon around the Earth. It's a mean radius. It's elliptical. It's not circular. So the mean radius is like approximately, I don't remember the exact figure, it's about 248,000 miles, the mean radius. This book, the Surya Siddhanta, was written about 1,000 years before Christ. It gives it so accurately, it's about 50 miles out, the modern accepted figure. So this scientist was working with some people who were working on a computer with NASA. NASA were developing a computer which could run the solar system back and all the star positions and everything for 10,000 years. So this Indian gentleman was like a research scientist. He was working with these people, and he was familiar with the Mahabharata. So in the Mahabharata, there's timing of different events. Like when Krishna went to Hastinapur, there are certain specific astrological and astronomical positions of the stars and planets are given. So he was curious, you know, he thought, I wonder if this has any relevance and if it's real, you know. So he began to take these astronomical references and plug them into this computer, which, you know, NASA had built. And for instance, the date of the Battle of Kurukshetra, you know what it came out to according to this computer? Have a guess what the date was? At least give me the year. It was December the 12th, 3067 BC. The date of the beginning of the Battle of Kurukshetra. What does Prabhupada say? That these things happened about 5,000 years ago. So it's BC. So we're 225 now. So it's like, it's amazing, you know? And not just this event, but others. So this is gradually what's happening. That as the Vedic culture is being revealed, it's actually validating. Do you know what they say the age of the universe is, approximately, the scientists? They say it's about 4 billion years. Do you know there's a partial devastation every time the Manvantar changes? Partial devastation. Yeah, so in the day of Brahma, there is a partial devastation. So how long is the day of Brahma? Anyone who knows? Well, you know how long, you know how long a cycle of 4 yugas is, right? 4.32 million years. So 1,000 of those?
4.32 billion.
4.32 billion. And the scientists say it's about 4 billion years old. So gradually you see that the Vedic culture will validate the things that the material scientists are saying. Vedic culture is so amazing. It's so amazing. Yeah, okay. Why do we get into that? Don't really remember. But anyway, it's a nice discussion. You know? So we should have confidence. Actually, when we go on university campus, when we do our initial presentation, I always include these two: the orbit of the moon around the Earth and the speed of light. And when we show that, actually, the students are amazed. Wow, how is it that mythology is coming up with this stuff? Well, actually, it's not mythology. It's good to carry around some of these things with us, you know. Oh yeah, it's just mythology. Oh, do you know that in that mythology, the speed of light was predicted 300 years before it was found to have a finite value in the West? People are like, wow, really? Amazing. Yeah, anyway, some thoughts and things to think about. Yeah.
So you know the Battle of Kurukshetra, what 5,000 years
Yeah,
ago?
3067 BC, 12th of December.
So
Because you know we celebrate Gita Jayanti at that time?
yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
but in the Western whatever thing,
in the Western thinking.
the Western, okay, I guess so. They mention like cavemen and stuff, and they think that we come from that. So there were cavemen at a certain point of time, but then I was wondering, like, how did it deteriorate so quickly after Krishna left the planet, and then now we already grew so much by the time, like, let's say Mahaprabhu has come, etc.
Yeah, because the Brahmins became fallen, that was the beginning.
But
Also,
so quickly.
from the point of view of Vedic culture, some places on the earth are considered uninhabitable. They don't go there. Like when it's very cold, like the poles, even areas close to the poles. In Vedic culture, they were considered uninhabitable. But there were, lower forms in those places. Because the human species is 400,000. So it's not. You see, these two devotees, Dhrutakama and Sadarupa, they produced a book called The Forbidden Archaeology. You see, now the archaeology that we get is filtered. Things that don't fit the current theory, you don't hear about them. But if you look into the anthropological papers around the turn of the 20th century, no one there was filtering because they were trying to find out what's going on. Because the modern theory is that humans only appeared as we know about 250,000 years ago. Well, now they're constantly making discoveries which push that date back further and further. I think the current understanding is about 350,000. And you know what the cradle of humanity is, according to this theory? It's actually Africa. It's the cradle, it's supposed to be the cradle of mankind, Now, Dhrutakama and Sadarupa were researching papers which were produced around the turn of the 19th century. And they found paper after paper which is actually showing a different understanding. Like, skeletons of modern anatomical man which are found in rock formations 2, 3, 4, 5 million years old. So what does it show? Human beings have been around like that for a long time. It's not that. And they found that there is so much evidence which supports the Vedic understanding that human beings have been around for generations, eons, kalpas in their current form. And these are the species, like one time Prabhupada was asked by one disciple, so what are these dinosaurs? Prabhupada told, they're left over from a previous Kali Yuga. Yeah, because things get pretty heavy in Kali Yuga. It said that the insects have become very large in Kali Yuga. Very large. Like they can take a bite out of you. Kali Yuga is very degraded. So these are the species that we find that they're finding. Of course, now some of them have been exploded as well. Pulled Down Man, for instance, was a forgery. You know, there are others as well. But what they're finding, they're parallel. They're not, you know, it's like, you may think you're descended from an ape, but I'm not. You know, I'm not descended from an ape. So there were parts of the Earth planet which are considered uninhabitable from the Vedic culture's point of view, but they were habited by human beings in lower consciousness, and forms of apes which we don't, which are not current on the planet now. This is the standard explanation.
And then the forms of the humans that they found from billions of years ago, were they then bigger? Because I know that it's explained like in the other yugas, people were bigger and then they became smaller and smaller.
I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know any. But we do find evidence in other cultures. Like, for instance, in the Greek culture, you find that. You know this person, Achilles? He was pretty much an indefeatable warrior. No?
Yeah.
So Achilles was on the side of the Trojans, and they were fighting the Greeks. So there's one particular battle, it's written in the Iliad, this. There's one particular battle, and the two generals got together and they said, look, you know, why must have so much bloodshed? You bring your warrior, and we'll bring ours, let them fight, and whoever wins, that's the outcome of the battle. No? So Achilles was chosen by the Trojans, and then the Greeks, they opened their ranks, and this person came out and he was like 10 feet tall. You know, and they thought actually Achilles defeated him because he was such a powerful warrior. And also in the Bible we find those stories as well. There were giants abroad in those days. So there is evidence in other revealed scriptures, but I mean I haven't researched it. I don't know, you know. But maybe there is out there and we haven't heard about it or whatever. But at least modern anatomical man, skeletons have been found, you know, in rock formation, so you can't. Because when they want to debunk it, they say, no, it's cheating, somebody put it there, somebody came with a hammer and chisel. And it's not like that, actually. You know, and of course the other one is this theory of evolution, which is a complete utter nonsense, actually. Two problems. This is something we should know, actually. Darwin's theory of evolution has got two very serious problems. Do you know what they are? Two very great. Because there is elasticity in species. You know, you can breed plums down to 1/4 of an inch or up to 6 inches, but you can't go beyond that. There's some elasticity within a species. Look at dogs, for instance. You know, you can get these tiny little Pekingese which bark at you like, you know, or you can get a Great Dane. You know, there is elasticity, but the elasticity is limited. So one problem that is faced by modern or neo-Darwinism is how do you get giraffes from dogs? Or how do you get they call speciation? How do you change one species to another? There's no evidence of that anywhere. No missing links. Nobody's ever found anything. You know, gradual growth from one species to another. That doesn't happen. There's nothing in the fossil record. And then the other problem which Darwinism faces is how did life come from chemicals? That's a huge problem, actually. You can't, by chance, we can't even get one protein. So the simplest proteins are about 100 amino acids long. To generate the simplest form of life, you need about 600 proteins, I think, something like that. No? So if you can't generate one protein of 100 units, 100 amino acids by chance, then how are you going to get life? How is it possible? So these are the two standard ways that there's a guy called Dr. Richard Mayer. He's a big, you can look for him on YouTube actually. He's a big exponent, he's a Christian actually, but he's a big exponent of exploding this whole Darwin. This Darwin theory is a lot of nonsense actually. It's just an unproven theory. It's good to carry some knowledge this around with us as well so we can make people think. We are creationists, by the way. Aren't we? Yes. And that process is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, isn't it?
Yes.
In second canto, it's described how we get the creation. The Christians have simplified it a little bit. He just worked for 6 days and then he rested. Yeah. So it's good if we have some of these tools, we can shake the understanding or get people to think a little differently. Yeah.
I always think that how the universe was created, like how Lord Brahma came, how the expansions of Krishna and then finally all the Purusha avatars and so on.
Yeah.
I thought that is such a complicated and involved procedure and process,
How could anyone think that?
Yeah.
The creation
It's
is
just amazing, yeah.
Actually, that's what convinced me. I was skeptic for a long time. What convinced me was the 5th canto. That's just mind-blowing. How the universe is constructed is just amazing. How can anyone think somebody could come up with that? Yeah.
And also, it's so complicated that, if somebody reads it and you don't actually understand, like, who is Krishna, what is material nature, etc., etc., you just will throw it out.
Yeah.
You will just reject it.
Yeah, mythology. Yeah. But actually, if you investigate it, it is so scientific. It is so scientific if you really investigate it. But one thing is that the Vedic definition of scientific is a little different from ours. Pinpoint accuracy is not something which is really entertained very much in Vedic understanding. Siddhanta is the thing in Vedic understanding. Pinpoint exactitude is not something which is really supported. Like, for instance, you carry this tape, you've got your own personal tape measure. Do you know that? It's called a cubit. I forget now what it's called in Vedic culture. It's meant to measure stuff, Like the pyramids are so many cubits long. So, one measure of distance in Vedic culture is the distance at which you can hear a cow lowing. You know what the cow does when it lows? Moo. Like that. Now the thing is, how far you can hear that away is dependent on certain things, isn't it? If you look at it scientifically, how loud is the cow mooing? What is the temperature of the air? Which way the wind's blowing? How good your hearing is? But it's an accepted distance, an accepted Vedic measurement of distance. It's got a name. I forget what the name is now, but it's got a name. It's how far away you can hear a cow lowing. Can you believe it's a Vedic measure of distance? So what does it show? Like an emisha. An emisha is actually the blinking of an eye. That's the definition. But in your body it may be different from mine. So things are, the Vedic culture has a very practical base. It's not, like we define, how do you know the modern definition of a meter? A meter is a length. It is so many wavelengths of a krypton laser at a certain temperature. So many wavelengths of this green light coming from a krypton laser. So many wavelengths of krypton light when the laser is a certain temperature. Ridiculous, no? I mean, what's the use of that? So the scripture is interested in siddhanta, not interested in pinpoint accuracy. Anyway, we have a little time to discuss the philosophy of the Tattvagadis.
Can I ask a question? So just circling back to our conversation on respecting others and being humble.
Yeah.
So I know, like, it says in our scripture that we must at least be friendly with everyone. I know at other places it says we must be friends with everyone, but then it also contradicts by saying we mustn't be attached to everyone. But
Actually, it's beyond friendship. It's actually compassion.
So, like, my question is,
because we say that, no?
Yeah.
The devotees are full of compassion.
Yes.
So
And then
the friendliness automatically comes from that.
And then there's the different types of friendships, right? So my question is, how do we be a bit renounced in our friendships or dealings of compassion or friendliness? Because sometimes we just want that reciprocation. So if we keep giving to, like, everyone and we're trying to respect everyone, but then we're not, like, being filled with our, like, let's say, social need or emotional need. So how can we be a bit detached while offering respect to like everyone.
Yeah, you see that really in its fullest expression is only possible on the spiritual platform. You know, to actually have compassion for all living entities is something which we can only do from the spiritual platform. So we have to be practical, and that is why that when Prabhupada talks about Madhyama Adhikaris, he says that we have 4 kinds of relationships. No? We love Krishna, we have deep friendships with the devotees, we're merciful to the innocent, and we avoid the envious. But even that mercy, you know, it has to be practical, you know, because, you know, we have guna and karma and others have guna and karma, and sometimes the guna and karma works and sometimes it doesn't. So sometimes it's just best to, even among devotee relationships sometimes, you know, it's no matter how hard you try, there's some discordancy in the guna and karma, and you just can't be friends with that devotee no matter how hard you try. So then, you know, be respectful but keep your distance. So then also, you know, with the same with the general populace, it's not that you're going to jive with everyone, because you're also on the path of guna and karma to some extent. So we have to have some discrimination there. You know, if you're trying to strike up a conversation not working, then just realise, okay, you know, this Krishna wants me to talk to this one. You know, so we have to be practical, not just, you know, little bliss bunnies, you know, who are you know, oh yeah, but we have to be merciful to everyone. You know what I mean? We have to introduce some common sense and practicality, so that when we deal with people, you know, we can understand we're not going to get the same kind of reciprocation. So we do what we can with that person. Sometimes you can't do anything with them actually. You must give them some prasadam. His Holiness Kadamba Maharaj tells a nice story about that. He says that one time he was, you know, because the sannyasis sometimes they give their mercy to a bhakta. They take them with them traveling or whatever like that, you know. So this one time, because in India you get attacked by beggars all the time, you know. So this one time in India they were traveling somewhere and they got down. I think they were in a rickshaw or something, they got down. And this person was hassling them for a donation or something, you know, like that, some beggar. So Maharaj is very expert, you know, he was like, you know the way Maharaj used to do, Maharaj did, like that. And he managed to get rid of this beggar. But then, this bhakta that he had with him was calling the beggar back, you know. And Maharaj is like, what are you doing, you know? So out of his rucksack, he pulled a piece of apple from breakfast time, you know. And he said, we have prasadam, Maharaj, prasadam. And he gave the piece of apple to the beggar, you know. So it's kind of like, you know, we should be awake to see what we can do. You know, Maharaj had dismissed this person, go away, leave us alone. But this bhakta was like, Maharaj, we have a prasadam. So yeah, we should, you know, be mindful and understand that we're not going to jive with everybody. Just do what we can. I mean, in some cases you can't do anything. You just have to accept it. And, okay, try my best, can't do anything with that person. Is that all right?
Also depends on the level of advancement of the individual.
Yeah,
because
more
with advancement, you are able to do these things without becoming disturbed.
Yeah.
Like an example, how Kokilesh Prabhu does
Yeah.
a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's an example of what advancement can be.
Yeah. He's also very
Most
astute.
of us can't do a quarter of how he gets, and with the same mood where he's not disturbed much himself.
Because he's an advanced devotee, he's
Like
also
how
very
more senior
intelligent.
devotees can handle.
Yeah, more senior usually.
But
We're
hero
just,
fights, then
we're just
We're glorifying him and here he comes.
We're glorifying you.
So we should know where we are also.
Yeah,
A lot is to work on our own purification
yes,
first.
and be realistic about
And
what
when
we
we
can
are better purified, then we can give a whole lot.
do. Yes.
But before we are purified, we really can't give much. You can
Well,
only
you
give
can.
prasadam in the holy name.
You're an initiated devotee. You can
Prasadam in
do
the
that.
holy name. What else can I give Prabhu?
You
So
can
much
give
to
your-
work on.
You can give your association. You can become. That's how we start. We start by being friends with people who are going to become devotees. That's how we start. You know, you don't go and say, oh, Parva, I want you to become a devotee. No, we become friends with that person. We ask after them, we show genuine concern, and then they start to ask, what's that bird dropping on your forehead? What's that for? And what's all this deity about? You become friends first. I know you can't make friendship with everybody. It doesn't always work. Gokulash is very expert at that.
Yeah, he really is.
So we can learn from that. Become friends first. Okay, Ramadini is like driving me crazy.
Sorry. It's also understanding one's own limitations.
Yes.
Because if you know your limitations, then it guides you a little
it gives
bit
some
more.
idea of what you can do and what you can't do.
Yeah. And then over time, I'm sure it can change with Krishna.
Yeah, over time your limitations become less in this interpersonal relationships. And there are even material things you can do to improve your intrapersonal relationship. Can ask Kalesh because he's very good at that stuff. Things you can do just to get better. We have run out of time, but I think we only did 2 verses.
Started with that.
So there's some things to make. This discussion came from the pride of the Tatmavadis. That's what this discussion came from. Is there anything else? Yeah, okay.
So with our discussion, we were now discussing about that we can't become friends with everyone, but sometimes we can still be friendly because we're able to give or help people and things like that. So for me personally, it's like sometimes it's like I can do things that they need, but sometimes then I have that expectation of I want some friendship back. So for me, it's like how can I manage that expectation in a renounced way?
What does Mahaprabhu say in the number 3?
You're expecting no respecting.
We can meditate on that a little bit actually, let me try and do this and not think about, because that's fruitive mentality actually, I want something back. And it's natural because we're human beings. It's natural to want some reciprocation with somebody you spend some time and give some energy to. But sometimes Krishna may put you in a situation where you get nothing back. You try your hardest, you get nothing back. Why Krishna put you in that situation? Okay, just remember sometimes, that, and it's so wonderful when we get something back, no? But sometimes Krishna just puts you in that situation, just to remind you, it should be, don't make it fruitive if you can, Of course that requires considerable spiritual purity, but at least we can fake it till we make it.
I guess this relates a bit to that 3rd verse of doing yagya for Vishnu, because you're renouncing the fruits, so now it's like I'm renouncing the fruits of the friendship.
Fruit of the friendship is to make me feel good. I get a warm fuzzy feeling from that. But where should we get our warm fuzzy feeling from? As our position as a devotee. And the preachers know that when you give yourself heart and soul, and you try to help others become devotees, you can feel Krishna's mercy flowing through you. That is our, sometimes Prabhupada would be very, very sick and very ill, and he would do a panel program, and the longer it went on, the stronger Prabhupada would get. That's because Krishna's mercy flowing through him.
Staying on the same thing, Prabhu. It happens because we don't get different levels of devotees. So it's different if someone who's at a lower level than you disrespects you, then you understand, okay, well...
It's fine.
Yeah, that's not the
Who cares? What does it matter? Yeah, and
obviously, when Gopali was speaking, it was more on the same friendship level, right? So that's a little bit more hurtful, because you expect to be friends. But now, what if it's from someone who's senior, who's like disrespecting you, who doesn't want anything to do with you?
Okay.
That's very demoralizing.
Yeah, it's very demoralizing. Okay, one thing you could try, because, this is something about the Tirtha Maharaj used to say about living in the community of devotees. When there's a problem, what do we usually do?
Run away.
Run
away.
It's you. It's because of you.
You're the problem.
You're doing this, you're doing that. You know what the Tirtha Maharaj said? He said, there's a problem in a relationship, start here. Because if there's a problem in a relationship, there's ownership on both sides. Right? So you start here. Now what am I doing? That's one thing to investigate. Another thing you can investigate, you can go to that and touch the feet and say, have I done something to offend you or upset you? Or, try and find out, is there something you can do in the relationship? Try, seriously. No? And then if you go through that process and you find you can't really resolve it, then be respectful, but keep your distance. Because it's going to be like that sometimes. You're not going to love every devotee, trust me. Not going to. Some of them, you can't stand the way they're playing Mridanga. Like, what are you doing? How do you play the Mridanga like that? That reminds me, you and me have to talk to them. You have to take out some of those speculations before they can really become rooted. Yeah. So sometimes we just have to be respectful and keep a distance. And we can, see, someone may be in a senior position, but it's possible for them to be less advanced even though they're in a senior position. There are 5 considerations of seniority among Vaishnavas. Do you know what they are? 5 considerations. What's number 1?
Age?
No, age is last.
Oh, you want the order?
Initiation?
No, there's one before
Spiritual
initiation.
advancement.
I wouldn't know.
Spiritual advancement. Like in the assembly, the sages of when the sages were collected together, when a certain personality was speaking the Srimad Bhagavatam, do you know how old he was?
16.
He was 16 years old. Narada Muni was present, Vyasadeva was present, all the great sages were present. There's a 16-year-old boy speaking the Bhagavatam, and they were all in rapt attention. So age is last. And first is spiritual advancement.
Yeah.
Number 2.
I just feel like we practice that one the least. The first
Yeah, because
one.
you know why? You're not capable of judging. We can't judge that. We don't judge the advancement of another devotee. You know why? Because we think we're nothing. How can you judge the advancement of them? Why do you think we say boom, Mataji? So we carefully set this aside. We assume that every devotee is more advanced than we are. So what's number 2 then?
Initiation.
Spiritual initiation. Because of your spiritual initiation, Krishna has marked you. Krishna has accepted you.
Yay.
So therefore, I mean, it's not black and white. There's a process of acceptance. Krishna has formally accepted you in his initiation. So any devotee who's initiated before you, be it in a male body or a female body, they're senior to you. Number 3.
Position.
Varnashram Dham. Varnashram Dham. Senior. But who is the lowest?
Sutra.
Brahmachari. Brahmachari is the lowest. They are the strongest because they're supporting everybody else. And the bottom line, because they're student. They only have responsibility for themselves. So in Vedic culture, that's student. Then who's above them? The Grihastas. Yeah. Why? They're more considered, more senior, because they have responsibility for others. No? Then who's above the Grihastas? Vanaprasthas. They have even more responsibility. Their responsibility for their local community, how to help their local community. And then finally, sannyasis, because they're responsible for everybody. Everybody's son or daughter for them. So Varnashram Dham is next. So we got what? Spiritual advancement, spiritual initiation. Varnashram Dham, what's number 4? No.
Position.
Position. Like for instance, His Grace Gopaleshwari is senior to all of us. She's the temple president. And we must understand that Krishna has put him in that position. He can tell me, Shamananda, do this. And I will accept it because he's my senior. He's managerial senior. And last comes age. Age is not very important. And we just gave the example. Sometimes wealth is considered as well. Because if you've got more wealth, what does it mean? When Krishna smiled on you to some extent. Yeah. Piety, yeah. Sure. So these are the considerations. Okay? So we should try and practice these.
Are there other positions other than management that's considered in that
well,
category?
you could say someone who's someone's in a position where they're running a big company or something like that. Then their position is definitely, it applies on the material level as well, not just among. Because obviously if that person is running a CEO of a company and you're some bozo, didn't deserve respect. I'll give you an example of that. My spiritual master had several disciples who were senior to him in age, and he would give them respect. He would give them such respect. So we should think. Because the Vedic, etiquette is the basis of our life. If we can follow the etiquette nicely, we make a lot of advancement. You know what Mahaprabhu says about following the etiquette? He says it is the ornament of a devotee to maintain and protect the etiquette. The ornament of a devotee. Why do you wear an ornament?
To make yourself beautiful.
Makes that beautiful. So this is what Mahaprabhu says. To maintain. So that means you practice it. And then to protect it. What does that mean? That means if you see transgression and you have the relationship, then you should try to correct. But you only can do that if you have the relationship. Don't be like, don't be like this.
To everyone.
You do it in a brotherly or sisterly way, very gently, and you should think very carefully about how to do that. Jagadish Maharaj once told me with children, but it works with adults as well, before you correct a child, reverse the roles. And think what it would be like to hear what you're going to tell that child. It works with adults as well, actually. But you have to have the relation. And generally, juniors shouldn't correct seniors. Go to someone else. Go to someone who's their peer or as their senior. If you feel that the relationship has been transgressed. Go to their peer who has a good relationship, or go to their senior. Don't try and do it yourself. Because if you try and do it yourself, you make it worse in most cases. That goes to your question as well. If there's a problem, go to a peer of that devotee, someone that you see that have a good relationship, or go to a senior and tell them, first of all check with your peers. Look, are you seeing this as well? Are you seeing this problem in relationships? Check with your peers. Then if you want to correct, you go to a senior or a peer who has a good relationship. And even if we want to correct our peers, what must we have? Good relationship. Otherwise it will be taken badly. It won't be taken actually. So you put your arm around that devotee and you say, no problem. This is what happened, and I was thinking it's not so good, That you have to do it like a loving brother or loving sister, with love, with the idea to help that devotee, not chastise him. Does this help, Craig? Any of this help? We should try and practice this, Actually, our association should be so wonderful that when people come into it, they never want to leave. That's what our association should be like. Of course, it's very easy to say the theory, but we should try to practice it. Okay, now we're definitely finished, because I'm hungry. Okay, we're finished. But actually, Mother Brahman Didi wanted to say something. Actually, this is Didi. I shouldn't call her Mata. It's Didi. When we have a relationship with a lady who's our kind of peer, we can say Didi. You know what Didi means? It's old sister. It's a very respectful way, very loving way of dealing with a female devotee. Because sometimes, you've got some young girl you have a relationship with, and I've got relationships with girls in their 20s, calling them Mata sometimes is a bit strange, so you can use that term, Didi. It's a very, very wonderful way. You find that in Hindi and Bengali. You call that Didi. So Didi, what is it then?
And also those that are instructing or teaching, like a Shiksha Guru, they also senior, isn't it?
Yeah, also.
In terms of seniority and
yeah,
so on.
If you have a position where part of your position is to instruct, like for instance, who has that position that he can instruct you? Yeah, temple president or department head. Because our managerial authorities are equally important to our spiritual authorities. Sometimes you get more help spiritually from your managerial authorities than you do your spiritual. You all read that, right? Harmonizing the lines of ISKCON, harmonizing the authority lines of ISKCON. You already read that paper. Sometimes the devotee gets more help from their managerial authorities spiritually than they get from their spiritual master. Sometimes it goes like that. So we should be open to instruction. There was one travelling mendicant, and he was such an incredible devotee. Yadav Maharaj asked him, how is it you're such an incredible devotee? And he answered by giving 22, was it 22 or 24? 24 gurus. The earth, the mountain, the tree, the sun, the moon, a prostitute called Pingala, an arrow maker. He was getting instruction. We can get instruction from anywhere if we're open to it. Krishna can instruct you through any medium. Prabhupada was very sick, actually. They needed a doctor on a Sunday afternoon. They searched high and low. They found some Jewish doctor. He was drunk. They brought him to Srila Prabhupada. He examined Prabhupada and he told him, you need to do more walking, you need more exercise, you must walk every morning. The doctor was drunk. You know what Prabhupada started to do? He started morning walks. Yeah. So we can take instruction from anywhere if we're open to it. Anyway, so now we're definitely finished. Okay? Okay, stop this time. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Divine Loving Lordship Shri Nitai Mai Panchana ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi.
Jai.
So today was nice, we were just discussion. Right? But that's what class is meant for, actually. Class is meant for discussion. Prabhupada